Revelation Unraveled, Part 36, Numerology in Revelation. Whole books have been written on the spiritual significance of numbers, numerology, especially as used by apocalyptic prophets like Daniel and St. John. The most commonly used numbers in Revelation are 2, 3, 4, and 7. Larger numbers are almost always combinations of these particular digits. The author rarely uses 5, 6, 9, or higher, which is a good indication that he uses the former numbers on purpose. Section R9, which details the destruction of Babylon, capitalism, is chock full of significant numbers, although often not in their usual meaning. The number 2, for example, normally refers to mankind, a man and a woman. Here in R9, St. John consistently employs a dual repetition of expressions as reference to the double land and sea assaults of World War III. Occasionally, St. John will also use 2 to indicate two opposing or antagonistic entities or viewpoints. The number 3, of course, expresses the Holy Trinity, and 3 repetitions of the same event or expressions provide a conclusive or divine emphasis. For instance, the word holy is important, but the phrase holy, holy, holy is more than just triply significant. It is divinely imperative. The number 4 usually means all humanity, 2 couples, or universality, 4 winds from 4 directions, 4 seasons, etc. In this section, however, St. John uses 4 as another way to express the Trinity, because most of the quadruple events consist of 3 identical or similar occurrences, plus 1 which is somewhat different, or a generalized expression of the other 3. This type of 4 can be seen in the 4 Gospels, where St. John renders quite a different treatment of the same subject matter from that of Saints Matthew, Mark, and Luke. 4 in this case symbolizes the Trinity as 3 persons in one God. This type of Trinity, 4, added to the more common Trinity, 3, equals 7, another number which expresses perfection and therefore the divine. Practically every paragraph in section R9 lists at least one numerical significance. In Revelation 18, verse 1, 2, heaven versus earth. Verse 2, 2 is fallen, Babylon's twofold destruction. Verse 2, 3, devils, unclean spirits, hateful birds. Verse 3, 3, nations, kings, and merchants. Verse 4, 2, avoid sins or receive plagues. Verse 5, 2 plus 2, Lord and heaven versus sins and iniquity. Verse 6, 2 plus 3, Babylon's dual destruction with a triple emphasis. Verse 7, 2 plus 2, glory and delicacies versus torment and sorrow. Verse 7, 3, Babylon's pride, queen, not a widow, no sorrow. Verse 8, 4, Babylon's plagues, death, mourning, famine, plus fire. Verse 9, 3 plus 2, fornication and delicacies, weep and bewail, smoke and burning. Verse 10, 3 plus 2, alas, alas, also in verse 16 and verse 19. Verse 10, 3, 1 hour, also in verse 17 and verse 19. Verse 11, 3, merchants plus kings, verse 9, plus seamen, verse 17. Verse 12, 4, gold, silver, precious stones, plus pearls. Verse 12, 4. Purple, silk, scarlet, plus fine linen. Verse 12 again. 3. Thionine wood, ivory, stone vessels. Verse 12, 3. Brass, iron, and marble. Verse 13, 4. Cinnamon, ointment, frankincense, plus odors. Verse 13, 4. Wine, oil, fine flour, plus wheat. Verse 13, 3. Beasts, sheep, horses. Verse 13 again, 3. Chariots, slaves, souls of men. Verse 14, 3. Fruits of desire, fat things, goodly things. Verse 15, 3. Torments, weeping, mourning. Verse 16, 3. Linen, purple, scarlet. Verse 16 again, 3. Gold, precious stones, pearls. Verse 17, 4. Shipmasters, sailors, mariners, plus sea workers. Verse 18, 2 plus 3. Stood and cried, plus seeing, burning, saying. Verse 19, 2 plus 3 again. Cast and cried, plus weeping, mourning, saying. Verse 23, heavens, apostles, prophets. Verse 22, 4. Harpers, pipers, trumpeters, plus musicians. Verse 23, 4. Mill sound, lamplight, married voice, plus craftsmen. 23 again, 3. Merchants, enchantments, blood. Verse 24, 3. Prophets, saints, slain. Chapter 19, verse 1, 3. Salvation, power, glory. Verse 1 again, 3. Alleluia. Verse 3, Alleluia. Verse 4, Alleluia. R9 is truly a gold mine of permutations and combinations, which I'm sure contains many more than I have uncovered. I doubt if you will ever find a more remarkable display of numerical virtuosity in all of literature. One of the reasons St. John warns translators and analysts not to add or subtract from his work is because that would scramble his intricate numerology. I suspect that someone who understands the author's numerology could translate the original Greek and find many more examples. St. John put tremendous effort into composing this passage for one important reason, so that in these latter days no one would underestimate the coming catastrophe of the demise of capitalism.